Well, good morning, everybody. And thank you for being here on a very crisp spring morning, at least it seems that way. My name is Brent Dunn. I'm the Vice President for University Advancement and Executive Director at Missouri State Foundation. Last month, the foundation celebrated our 43rd birthday, January 13th. We were official, and that those 43 years have gone by rather quickly. When the foundation started, the university hired Greg Onstadt from Central Missouri State. He was the first executive director of the foundation, and I think we might have had one other employee at the time. And those offices were located in Carrington Hall on the second floor. And later, the staff grew, and we moved to the former president's home on National, the Burgess House, and that was our home. Right now, that's the home of planning, design, and construction for the university. And I came in 1985 as the director of annual funds, and I was a young kid, and so my office was upstairs in the kids' room. And we had a growing staff. I think our advancement services people were in the kitchen. Our receptionist was in the breakfast nook. Support staff were in the living room. Julie Eversole was our director of alumni relations. She had the master bedroom, and it was a great home for us. But we kept growing and growing. We started to have some success in fundraising and engagement. 1988, 1989, I think we grew to 16 staffers. And we were in that small house. And so we were really packed on one another. And we did need a move somewhere. And so there was some studies in 1988 and 89, but it was really a bold move, again, for a young organization, 8 years old, to move to another facility. And so the foundation purchased the former Center Bank building, which is this building. And this really became available when Center merged with Boatman's Bank. And there's several other structures that the foundation looked at. But I say that was a bold move because we had to take out a loan for this building. And I do appreciate Greg Onstadt, the executive director of the foundation. Ken Meyer was chairman of the foundation board at the time. And I'll say some more things about Ken later, but oh my gosh, this was a godsend for the foundation and the Alumni Association. We finally had space. We were not on top of each other. We had, in fact, this room that we're in, this, I think the realty company was located in here. Half of this was theirs. And so we turned this into a hospitality space that is used constantly. Now, if we were going to develop one, we probably wouldn't put two pillars in the middle of the room. But this has been renovated a couple of times, but we've used the space considerably. We had great office space. We've grown from the first floor, the second floor, to the fifth floor, but we also had outside tenants in here. Butler Rosenberry was in here. There's Tim. You remember this building very well. We had Woolsey Fisher on 6 and 5. We had the FBI was located here at one time, Secret Service. And so this became a revenue source of the foundation, but we also rented to the university. Now, speed this whole process up to last year. And so when the university went through the academic realignment, we had our distance learning on the fourth floor, and they all moved to other areas of the university. We're looking for tenants for the fourth floor. About that same time, so this was April of last year, the Community Foundation of the Ozarks and Brian Fogel and I started having a conversation. And they're sort of in the same situation we were in. They're busting at the seams, looking for some other areas that they could expand to. So they looked at the fourth floor, and we started having those conversations about moving some of their operations over here. Later, during that whole conversation, we talked, said, hey, what if the CFO buys this building? And so that did happen. And so officially, we have agreed to sell this building to the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. And the reason for that, this is a good deal for them. It's a great deal for us as a foundation, because we've had dreams for years to build on campus, to be more front and center. So when you look at major universities, and we've toured several of them recently, the alumni development operations are front and center. They are at the front door. They have more event space. They have more collaboration space. And it's a welcoming building for students, for faculty, for alumni, for the public to see the impact of philanthropy makes. And it's front and center. So I'll say more about that building at the end, but we're going in with the university. It's a joint partnership now to build a new center, which will be located at the corner of National and Bear Boulevard, very close to the Davis Harrington Welcome Center. And out on the east side of National, we're going to build across of Bear Boulevard. So there's a parking lot there right now. That's going to be our spot. And of course, that's going to take parking, but that's a whole other, that's a whole other issue. But this is a game changer for both organizations. I told Brian and Winter, I said, this is a win situation. It's a win for the foundation. It's a win for CFO. It's a win for downtown Springfield. And it's a win for our campus. And I know both organizations are so excited about this, and we've had umpteen number of meetings over the past several months, but I'd like to call on Winter Kenneth, who is the president and CEO of CFO, to say a few words. Winter.
Thank you, Brent, and to the entire MSU and MSU Foundation team. I want to start by recognizing and thanking some of our CFO board members that are in the room. So Dean Thompson, our chair, who you're going to hear from in a minute, Gil Smart and Roy Hardy, who are on the executive committee. Jimmy Lyles is here, drove up from Nixa today. And then this is on Zoom. So we've got several folks in Zoom land as well. I know Ron Cratley from Herman, our Herman affiliate, also on our executive committee is on, and there may be other board members that have snuck on recently too. The leadership of our entire organization and this new building project has been absolutely superb. And I also need to thank, of course, Brian Fogel, not only for his leadership through this process, but also for the last 15 years at the Community Foundation. So CFO's current building is located on Traffic Way, just a couple of blocks north of us, and was built for us, and we moved in 2006. But as Brent mentioned, the foundation has surpassed its capacity, both in terms of staff. We've got people tucked in nooks and crannies and places that aren't really offices, as well as hosting community meetings and activities, because it always comes back to parking, Brent. And we don't have enough parking on Traffic Way. So 2 years ago, we appointed a facilities task force comprised of board and staff and community members, which was chaired by Dean, and we are so grateful for their support and guidance. And I would be remiss if I didn't and thank and acknowledge the CFO of CFO, Louis Leon. He is the staff project manager participating in the facility task force, leading us through all parts of buying a building and ultimately moving. So thank you, Louis, very much. The CFO was and is committed to staying in Center City. It's the right thing for our organization, and to echo Brent, it's the right thing for downtown. We explored several options of existing buildings and even looked at building new. And ultimately, Ryan Murray of RB Murray Company helped broker the process of the sale and purchase, depending on which side you're on, of 300 South Jefferson. It's much larger than we anticipated originally for the new home of the Community Foundation. And we plan to uphold all leases with current tenants. Our Springfield-based staff anticipates moving into the currently unoccupied portion of the 4th floor in early 2025. As the MSU Foundation completes its move on campus, we will then re-envision what the space can be developed into to best fulfill our mission of serving the region through collaboration and public leadership. One of the tenets of our mission and vision statements is that our focus is forever, and the CFO has served as a hub for philanthropic leadership for the last 50 years and will continue serving our region long after everyone in this room is gone. To that end, we anticipate this building being our forever home, providing a secure anchor for downtown Springfield as we continue to anchor place-based philanthropy across our 62-county Southern Missouri region. I would like to introduce a representative of our facilities task force to speak next. We are very grateful, I am very grateful, for the wise counsel, vision, and expertise of Tim Rosenberry, now the Director of Quality and Place Initiatives for the City of Springfield. Tim?
Thank you, Winter, and good morning, everyone. It's terrific to be here and share this time with you. Several years ago, Springfield City Council adopted quality of place as one of 5 priorities. This priority meant that the place where we live and the people that we serve will be a focus of our community vision and our shared efforts. Place and people are also the bedrock of place-based philanthropy, which is the purpose and mission of the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. So it seems right, and it seems fitting, that an anchor institution like the Community Foundation would be the next steward of this landmark building. This prominent location and its astounding architecture and its amazing presence enable Springfield's downtown to be showcased to residents here who engage with the Community Foundation, and also to those who come here from across the region to and state for the Community Foundation. I also want to highlight Missouri State's University's plan to likewise showcase its campus to alumni and foundation supporters through an on-campus location. This I think is another example of the kind of smart placemaking Springfield is practicing more and more. Congratulations to both institutions. Last, I'd like to thank CFO, its board, and its staff for inviting me to participate in the steps that have led to this day. It's been exciting to vision with you, and I had no idea that our journey together would lead to such high ground. And now I'll introduce the one whose leadership brought us to this place. Please welcome Dean Thompson, Chair of the CFO Board of Directors. Dean.
Thank you, Tim. That was a little extreme, and I just my leadership. Everybody's. Hey, good morning, everybody. The drive in here, one thing I thought about is journey, because we're in a building. You think about a building facility, but as I was driving in here, I think of all the times I've been into this building for different reasons. Started school at Missouri State in 1986. I actually was a security guard not too long after it was purchased. Walked around here every once in a while. Actually, my economic development finance professional exam was in this room. When I was a paralegal, for John Pratt, Nancy Meyer, I delivered a lot of documents to Woolsey Fisher. Met Tim Rosenberry in this building, and it goes on. And I'm sure there's others, you have that. So when we started looking at this building, I hadn't put all that together. And then what a great partnership, a great opportunity for me as the chair. It's an honor to be here. And that connection with Missouri State University. The CFO began 50 years ago in 1973 with a $1,500 investment contributed by 15 banks, each making seed gifts of $100. Again, the journey and the connection is that one of those investors was the Bank of Springfield, which opened this building 2 years later. We've truly come full circle. As the region's public charitable foundation, the CFO is led by a volunteer board of directors representing our entire region. Several of the board members are here. If you'd raise your hand earlier, Winter recognized a few of them. See some of the executive committee. Thank you for being here. This project represents a significant lift. I like it because, quite frankly, it's a stretch goal. It's not just bigger, it's about 6 times bigger. If you look at the square footage, the leasable space here, around 64,000-ish square feet. The building's over 80,000 square feet. This is 6 times bigger than the building that we're currently in. And what excites me about that is not just that, but what we can do with the space in the future and how that can impact our region. Early in the process, the Facilities Review Task Force developed this project statement. The Community Foundation of the Ozarks is creating a space that is unique, impactful, inclusive, and meaningful, connecting people to each other in our region by constructing a safe and efficient facility that meets the needs of our growing community now and in the future. At the time we thought we were going to build, we never had the idea that we'd be here today until Ryan Murray and talked about we just don't know the journey that you're going to go on. So it's extremely honored to be here in the building, and really it's only been about 2 years. It started Robin Morgan when she was the chair of the CFO, and then also Laurie Edmondson's, our chair MRS, was also key. So it's 3 chairs. I'm just the one that's kind of the cleanup, right? So 50th anniversary last year, and then also it's not the only significant between 50th anniversary of this building, and now we have a new CEO. And you just heard from Winter. Transitioned in the first, the next transition is into the new building, but Winter also mentioned that you were in, I think, Hammond's Tower when CFO started there. You moved over to our current location, and now you're into this 81,000 square foot building. And like you said, it's a long-term play for us. I want to make sure to thank Brian Fogel as I wrap up. We would not be here today without Brian's leadership. Before he joined CFO, he knows this building well because, as was discussed earlier, Brian was also in this building for a while with the Boatman's connection and his past. So he's home in quarantine right now. He laid the groundwork for the project, anticipating the foundation's continued growth needs in creating a facility task force. So again, his visits to CUME, his strategic leadership, his thought brought us to this point as well. And finally, task force members, some of you are here. I want to make sure that you got recognized. CFO staff has been extremely important. MSU Foundation, Team Maroon knocked it out of the park. And then also individuals, Ryan Murray has been mentioned earlier with RV Murray and Company. Tim spoke earlier, City of Springfield. Rob Foster, I believe, is here. Rob is here. Thank you, Rob. He's a construction company owner and past board member. David Atkinson, I don't know if David is here, but he is critical also to, where's David at? There you are. Hey. David, critical to the construction side, but also due diligence and going through a building like this. So we had just a fantastic team. He's the local manager, J.E. Dunn. Lynn Marquardt, I don't know if Lynn is here. She's a CFO director. Ron Cratley, CFO executive committee, and Barb Baker, manager downtown Springfield Community Improvement District. So my personal thanks to each one of those individuals. There's many more that made this possible. And then I want to again thank Brent the Missouri State University, Cliff, see you're here, and the foundation as well. Thank you, Brad. I'll leave it up to you next.
So I won't get into great detail about our next move because we'll have some more information in the coming weeks and announcements from the foundation with President Cliff Smart. I'm glad Cliff is here. I want to thank him for his energy and his willingness to invest in advancement in this building. As I said, this building is owned privately by the foundation. The new building will be owned by the university. But through Cliff's efforts and many, we will go in partnership. We will be contributing to that building financially and working with the university. The new building isn't just about offices. I mean, if you go to our offices here, our staff will say, we've got great offices. It's more about meeting space. It's more about collaboration space. It's more about event space. And we'll be able to tell the story of the university and the value of engagement and philanthropy and how that is a key to the future of the university. I do want to thank our foundation board. I know we have Chairman Jim Wilson here, our past chair, Mark McQuarrie, is here, Joe Carmichael, Gordon Kenny, and all our board members. We've been talking about this for quite some time. So all our foundation board members, and Mary is here. Would you all please stand? Some of them are with us, and I got to give them a round of applause. Because this is a bold move for us, as it was in 1989. That was a really bold move. 8 years old, and you're gonna buy this building? And so we're going into a really bold move. And things will change, programming will change, but I guarantee you it will benefit the campus. There will be more engagement. There will be more private fundraising because of this move. But I also want to say we'll never forget the impact Ken Meyer made in this building. I know I've talked to Don O'Neill, and Wayne Lavacek is here with the Meyer Foundation. I've talked to Don Stott. We are going to have the appropriate recognition for Ken Meyer. Ken and Jane were very special to this institution, what he's done in so many areas of the university. And so we look forward to working with the Meyer Foundation as we find appropriate recognition and really telling the story of what Ken Meyer did in that bold move, but not just for that, for so many things on the campus. And that's really the purpose of the building, to tell those types of stories, tell the history of the university. But we want students in there, we want faculty in there, and the plans that you'll see later will be very special, where that will invite that collaboration. So again, more specifics on that later. But today we celebrate this important real estate purchase that is reflective of both our organizations, and that is to make this region, to make this community, and to change the lives of people in a positive way. And that's why this is a win-win-win. And this is a perfect time for both of us and a perfect time to come together and celebrate the real purposes of our organizations. So this is a great historic day for downtown, for our organizations, for the city and the region and the campus. And so thank you all for being with us and celebrating this very important day. Have a good day.